Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. What if Naruto was forbidden son of goddess Artemis? Movie. This is incredible. The amount of power that those two are producing is mind-boggling. Kakashi said as a shockwave of power sent him and his two students back a few feet. Sasuke could only stare in awe and frustration as he sees the so-called dope battle what is essentially a primordial being by himself. Damn it, said Sasuke as he watches the battle. He grits his teeth. At this moment as he watches Naruto battle Kaguya, all he could feel is anger and frustration at himself for running out of chakra. Kaguya after killing Obito once again started to teleport Sasuke around different dimensions. Sasuke tried again and again to get back to the fight, but every time he returned to the fight either Naruto or himself would be sent to different dimension. The dimension that costed him to run out of chakra was a dimension in which time flows differently. 1 minute in the elemental nation is EQU. Al to 1 hour inside the dimension. Sasuke spent a great deal of chakra to get back. This has left him drained of energy. Sakura at this moment felt completely useless and guilty. Damn it, damn it, damn it. She thought, if it wasn't for me, we would not be in this situation. If only I had destroyed Obito's Rinnegan when I had the chance. Damn it, aren't I medic? Aren't I Lady Tsunade prodigy? They done countless medical procedure from a minor wound cleaning to full-blown surgeries and not once had I hesitated. She looked at her hands with disgust. I'm a failure. With Naruto. Huff, huff, huff. This is bad. This is really bad. Scratch that. This is fucked. How am I going to beat her without that idiot second half of the seal? Naruto thought as he moved his head out of the way of an attack that would have decapitated him. Give up, child. You can't defeat me, not without your reincarnated brother. Kaguya said, you are only delaying the inevitable. I will have my chakra back. It is only a matter of time and time. She smirked. Is not on your side. Don't listen to her, Kit. Said Kurama. If anyone can come up with a plan to get out of this predicament, it's you. Why, you do have a plan, right? Yeah, but I'm not sure if it'll work out, Naruto said as he put his finger in a familiar cross. Multi-shadow clone jutsu. Naruto scream as 1,000 clones puff into existence. I'm going to channel as much nature energy into you as I can, Naruto. Said Kurama as he sat in a meditated position inside Naruto's subconscious. Yeah, thanks Kurama, Naruto said as he sends his clone to distract Kaguya. Okay, now that she's busy with my clones, time to get to work. Naruto unsealed a scroll in which it had chakra ink and a brush. Naruto started to write intricate seals around his sun seal and throughout his arm. With Kaguya, pesky little brat, do you actually believe that these cheap imitations are enough to stop me? After she said this, she began to dismantle the clones. She began to shoot chakra laser from her hands and Byakugan eyes, destroying a few clones. She then began to spin and shoot her ash-killing bone jutsu at the clones and they began disintegrating in bulks. As she stopped spinning, a clone snuck behind her and screamed out. Sage Art. Wind Style. Super-tailed Beast Rasen Shuriken. When the clone connected with the attack, the sheer force of the explosion caused a 9.5 magnitude earthquake that could be felt over 500 miles from the impact zone. How's that for pesky, you super ultra hag? Question mark. Said the clone in gleam. At the center of the crater laid Kaguya with her whole body covered in cuts and burns. With Kakashi and the others. That attack was brutal, said Kakashi. How in Kami's name is she still alive after that? Question mark. Not even Madara would have survived that, said Sasuke. Sakura suddenly yelped as a flash of orange appeared beside her. Heya, said the redhead. Naruto. Sakura said in surprise. Listed, I have good and bad news, said the clone with a serious expression. The good news is that boss may have found a way to beat Kaguya once and for all. Really? Said Sasuke, surprised. That's great, Naruto. Sakura said happily. What's the bad news, said Kakashi, getting a bad feeling while looking at the clone's cerulean eyes. Well, the bad news is that if things don't go according to plan, the planet will blow up, said the clone with a grim expression. All of Team 7 fell quiet after the clone spoke. What? Whispered Sakura with a horror-stricken face. What the hell are you planning, Naruto, said Kakashi with a serious expression on his face. Boss is prepping a seal formula that he tried using against one of the paths of pain, said the clone. Which one? Said Kakashi. The one that can absorb chakra, said the clone. What the hell are you planning, dope? Said Sasuke. What kind of seal are you making? I don't really want to get into the mechanics of seal formula right now because I don't have the time, and even if I did, none of you will ever be able to understand the complexity of what boss is doing. What? Said Sasuke in anger. Do you? Naruto raised his hand, cutting him off before he began into once of his rant about being superior because he is an Uchiha. Listen, Sasuke. Naruto is not calling any of us dumb or anything, it's just that he is an Uzumaki. The Uzumaki clan understands seals better than anyone in the world. A complex seal to someone on of Lord Jiraiya's level of mastery in the sealing arts is the equivalent of someone making a storage seal tea. Oh, an Uzumaki. The very fact that an Uzumaki is telling that you the seal he is making is complex should tell you something about just how impossible it is for anyone outside the clan to understand. Said Kakashi, hoping this short explanation would calm high wayward student. What, Kakashi-sensei said, exclaimed the clone. Grunted Sasuke while folding his arms. So, is that all you came here to said? No, said the clone while writing seals on around Team 7. I also came here to make sure that seal does not affect any of you. The most basic thing that this seal do is absorb chakra from nature and those around the caster, meaning boss. The absorption is aggressive that if the seal or the body can't contain and mold the chakra correctly, the ensued chakra explosion will be so great that it will take out the planet, if not the whole solar system. If it's so risky, then why go through with it, said Sakura, justifiably scared. This is a damned if you do and damned if you don't situation, Sakura, said Kakashi. If this is the only way this war can finally and then do what you have to, Naruto, said Sakura with a look of determination. You have never let any of us down, I trust you. Well, I don't, Sasuke said while angrily looking at the clone. Don't mess this up, dope, I don't feel like dying today. The clone scuffed. Thanks for the vote of confidence, asshole. Huff, 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 URGHK, that brat, how dare he use my chakra against me? Me, the progenitor of all chakra in this star-forsaken planet. Kaguya said in anger. Mother, are you alright? Said Black Zetsu in concern. I will be, said Kaguya as she began to rapidly heal. In a span of 4 seconds all of her wounds healed and she stood in a molten crater as if nothing happened to her. Now Asura, where have you run off to? Said Kaguya as she activated her Byakugan. Ah, there you are. Hey kid, I think she spotted us. Are you anywhere? Finish. Said Kurama. Yeah, I'm ready, said Naruto as he drew the last seal on his arm. Good, because she heading towards us fast. Said Kurama. 80 gods vacuum. Fist attack. Screamed Kaguya. Naruto widened his eyes as hundreds of house-sized chakra fist rained down on him. Naruto began to dodge as fast as he could, jumping, flipping in the air, flying as fast as he could. Naruto took one of his truth-seeking orbs and shaped it into a shield to block one of the chakra fist. The impact and subsequent explosion sent Naruto crashing to the ground. URGHK, that's smart, said Naruto in pain. I can't keep dodging forever, Naruto thought. He then began doing rapid hand signs. As 5 clones appeared around the original also doing hand sings. Fire style. Dragon Bomb Jutsu. Water style. Water Dragon JUSTU. Wind style. Vacuum Blade JUSTU. LIGHTIG style. Electromagnetic Murder. Earth style. Rock Dragon Bomb. As the tremendously large jutsu engulfed the rest of Kaguya's attack, Naruto threw a kunai directed to Kaguya's head, which she then effortlessly dodged by moving her head to the side. Kaguya deadpanned. Seriously? Do you actually believe that she was cut off? As Naruto teleported behind her, he grabbed the back of her head with the arm that he wrote the seals on and drove Kaguya's face straight to the ground, making an explosion. It's now or never, Naruto. Said Kurama. Right, said Naruto with a determined look in his face. Uzumaki Forbidden Art. Rune Style. Runic Siphoning Arc. As Naruto unleashed his trump card, an enormous dome made of runic symbols surrounded the area around Naruto and Kaguya. Naruto then began to absorb Kaguya's infinite chakra as well as the chakra from the surrounding planets and stars. Naruto roared in pain. He felt as if his body was being burnt and ripped apart. His chakra coils expanded 10 times their original size, causing Naruto even more pain. Kurama, he helped me re-regulate the CHCH chakra, Naruto said as blood began to pour out of his eyes, nose and mouth. I'm on it, kid, just hold out as long as you can. said Kurama as he clapped his hands together. He then began to repair and heal Naruto chakra coils as well as making sure the aggressive absorption of chakra didn't make him and Naruto into a galactic destroying bomb. Ah! Screamed out Kaguya in pain. What are you doing, you stupid child? She felt as a relative tiny portion of her infinite chakra began to channel into the boy's body. She was angry and impressed at how he was still in one piece. Nah Naruto, why you have to stop, why you are going to be blow up? Said Kurama with great strain. Right after Naruto turned off the seal and lifted him arm off Kaguya's head. The abrupt cancellation of the technique created a shock wave that sent Naruto and Kaguya flying in PPO sight direction. Kaguya crashed at a mountain across the planet while Naruto crashed into the Hokage mountain, into the face of the third Hokage. Naruto. Hey kid, are you alright? Said Kurama in concern. No, not really, said Naruto in a low tone. What do you feel? Said Kurama. Naruto didn't respond for a few moments. Damn it kid, talk to me, are you alright? Kurama said with a bit of fear in his booming voice. I feel hot and heavy. Naruto said with a raspy voice as she said that Naruto's body began to tremble as steam came out of him. Naruto started to take heavy breaths. He cried out in pain. He dropped to his knees as his body began to morph. Horns began to grow from the top of his head, his spiky mop of hair grew to shoulder length, his eyes began to bleed and steam. His skin began to grow claws and his sage pigmentation appeared around his eyes. Naruto, Kurama said in fear and concern for his Jinchuriki. I am, huff, alright, huff, said Naruto as he stood back up. Naruto put a hand to his face covering his eyes. My eyes, something is wrong with them, Naruto said as his eyes kept steaming and bleeding. With Kaguya. URGK, that was unexpected, said Kaguya while coming of the rubble. What happened, mother, what did he do? Said Black Zetsu confused. He became stronger, Kaguya said matter-of-factly. Really? Just how much stronger could he have gotten? He didn't even drain a noticeable amount chakra from you, mother, said Black Zetsu even more confused than before. You were correct. He took less than 1% of my chakra, said Kaguya with no emotion showing in her face. But, that all he needing to complete himself, said Black Zetsu. Sorry mother, but I don't follow. If you remember, Asura is one of Hagoromo's children. Since Hagoromo is half Otsutsuki, he could only pass down so much of his Otsutsuki DNA and chakra to his children. The Otsutsuki chakra and DNA in Asura was already diluted and it became even weakened throughout his many reincarnations. When took a bit of my pure Otsutsuki chakra, the dilation of his chakra became null. But that's not all. What he took from me was just a tiny bonus. How can your beautiful, magnificent, pure chakra be nothing but a tiny bonus? Because he did was many Otsutsuki have tried to do fail for eons. Said Kaguya with a bit of mirth in her voice. What did he do, mother? Said Black Zetsu in concern. He took chakra from the planets and the stars, he took part of the universe into himself, did not fade from existence, she said with a smirk. This is a new feeling, she thought, pride in someone else. He Kaguya began to giggle. After a few seconds she began to laugh wholeheartedly. Of course, he was able to do the impossible, only someone of my blood could do the impossible, she exclaimed with pride. Perhaps, he'll be able to deal with them, whispered Kaguya. Mother, said Black Zetsu. Nothing, just talking to myself, said Kaguya as she blasted from the mountain and headed straight towards Naruto. In a matter of a few minutes, she appeared in front of Naruto. Floating a few inches atop the Hokage mountain stood Naruto with a new appearance. 2 horns perturbing from his head, 9 truth-seeking orbs behind him. On his left hand he has a short black rod made of yin-yang chakra, and on his GHT hand he has the Shakuho, a weapon similar to the one that the Sage of Six Path has, except that instead of having rings on top the staff, this one has tiny little planets orbiting a sun with a nebula surrounding the solar system replica. Well then, Super Ultra Hag, Naruto said as he began to slowly open his eyes. Time for round 2. When he fully opened his eyes, a glowing cerulean Rinnegan the same color of his eyes formed. Naruto and Kaguya stare intensely at each other, weary of any sudden movement. The tension as high as it has ever been. But all of a sudden, a giggle could be heard, then a chuckle, and finally a full-blown laugh. What that heck? thought Naruto in outer confusion. Why the heck is she laughing? Beats me kid, said Kurama just as confused. Ah, apologies, said Kaguya, calming herself. I forget myself, is just that this is something I would have not anticipated. Naruto seemed put off by Kaguya's behavior. Tell me boy, do you have any idea as to what you have done? Said Kaguya with no visible emotion on her face. What's wrong with this hag? Naruto thought. One moment she's pissed, another she's laughing like a maniac, and now she's completely blank, no emotion whatsoever. What's her deal? Is she bipolar or something? What do you mean, what have I done? Said Naruto. I just got the power to end this, is what I did, said Naruto with a bit of mirth in his voice. It seems he is not yet aware, thought Kaguya, understandable given the circumstance of his current existence. Forget I said anything, child, with having said that I am quite curious as to what you can do now, Asura. How about you come and find out, Super Ultra Hag? As the two stared at each other, the ground began to tremble. As their power increased, the weather began to radically shift. The winds picked up at an incredible speed, forming tornadoes. The sky bathed in lightning. Snow and rain began to pour down to the ground. Their auras began to emanate from their bodies. Kaguya has a violet aura that flowed like water, and Naruto had a blue silvery aura around his body that danced like fire. Naruto got into frog kumite, getting ready to strike, while Kaguya got into a stance that resembles the Hyuga gentle fist style but less rigid. A leaf could be seen floating down between the two, as if free of care. The leaf descended to down the ground the very instant the leaf touché the ground. The two launched at each other. When their fist collided with each other, a tremendous shockwave swept through the leaf village. Naruto and Kaguya began their taijutsu bout, exchanging fist and kick, flowing between blocks and counters. No wasted movements, they were masters of their craft. Their speed was phenomenal. Their speed far surpassed that of light. Shock waves of their fist colliding in the sky and ground could be seen throughout the whole planet. Naruto blocks a jab and counter with one of his own. Kaguya moves her head to the side and kicks Naruto on the side of his torso, launching him to sky. Kaguya opens portals all around Naruto. All killing ash bones, screamed Kaguya as she shot them at Naruto. The attack came out of all sides. With seemingly nowhere to run, Naruto smirked. Almighty push, Naruto roared as he pushed away the attack back along with Kaguya. Naruto, flying past Kaguya, began to charge a super mini-tailed beast bomb in his hand. When she got close, Naruto struck the back of Kaguya's head with the attack, sending her crashing into the ocean. Not even a second later, an explosion cloud be seen from miles away, sending millions of tons of water into the sky. Not letting the water go to waste, Naruto infused chakra into the water, controlling it. Water style. Massive water dragon bomb. The monstrously large water dragon crashed back down. Kaguya could be seen standing at the sea's floor with a half-blown-up head. Kaguya's body emanated purple chakra and rotated on its own around Kaguya, blocking Naruto's attack. When the attack subsided, Kaguya stood there as if nothing happened. Kaguya looked up at Naruto and proceeded to fly straight at him. At the same time she did this, two bone protrusion came out of her hands, aiming to take Naruto down. Before she got the chance to hit Naruto, he used both his staff to defend himself. Sparks erupted as the two clashed and parried their weapons. The two combatants disappeared as only two streaks of light could be seen hitting each other across the ground and sky, one red and the other purple. A shadow clone puffed behind Kaguya and grabbed her from behind, wrapping its arm around Kaguya's neck. When this happened, she locked back for just a second and bone came out of her back, destroying the clone. Before she refocused her attention on Naruto, he appeared underneath her and punched her with a devastating uppercut punch, blasting her into the atmosphere. Kaguya's brain scrambled as she spun out of control in space as she got further and further away from the planet. Good now that she's outside the planet and can go all out without worrying about destroying what's left of the elemental nations, thought Naruto. Before Naruto did anything else, he held his head in pain. Arg! He screamed as he saw flashes of light, started to see events throughout history. He saw people he'd never met. He saw a man with a single horn wrapped around his head. He had a Byakuga in one eye and a weird yellow and black eye on the other. He saw a 10-tails sleeping, but this one seemed to be a lot smaller than the one he and the others fought. When the V-zone stopped, Naruto panted. What was that? Naruto asked himself. Hey Naruto, shouted Kurama in worry. Are you okay? What happened? I don't know. my head suddenly began to hurt, and I started to see things I saw people I never met in. Naruto stopped before he seemed almost scared. And what kit? Asked Kurama confused. I saw another 10 tails, but this one seemed a lot smaller than the one we fought. When Kurama heard what came out of Naruto's mouth, a feeling of absolute dread began to creep into the Biju. Never mind, said Kurama, calming himself down, when got other things to worry about. URGK, yeah you're right, grunted Naruto as he composed himself. With a flash of red light, Naruto disappeared from the planet. With Kaguya. HRMF, grunted Kaguya as she shocks the cobwebs out of her head. That boy's strength is quite amazing. Now where am I? It seems we have left the elemental galaxy mother. So it seems, as she said that, Kaguya felt a spike of chakra behind her. She quickly turned around, seeing a distro. GHT Naruto. Kaguya narrowed her eyes. Something happened to him. Why does he look startled? Kaguya asked herself. Naruto folded his arm together and shouted. Rinnegan Art. The Asura Path. As Naruto quickly unfolded his arms, they transformed into myriad of gun-like weapons. Naruto began to shoot a barrage of missiles, grenade and lasers at Kaguya. Without a second though, Kaguya started flying around, dodging the attacks with practice ease. Seeing this, Naruto roared as he grew 4 extra arms and transformed them into metallic-looking clams with wires attached to them. Electrical chakra started to be channeled between each clam. Naruto shot the 4 beams of yellow energy, fusing into one beam, increasing its power and speed. While Kaguya was dodging the projectiles, she notices the enormous energy beam heading towards her at an incredible speed. Before she got high, she charged an attack of her own. She used her truth-seeking orbs, morphing them from a solid state into energy, which she then proceeded to shoot at the beam of energy. The two beams clashed, fighting for superiority as they both put more and more power into their attack grew. The center where the two attacks met began to destabilize, resulting in an explosion that took 5 planets around Naruto and Kaguya, completely obliterating them. When the explosion ended, Naruto glared at Kaguya. Damn it, this is getting us nowhere, thought the frustrated Naruto. You are really making this harder than it needs to be, boy. Kaguya smirked at Naruto, but I think it's time to end this. When she said that, Kaguya released all of her power, transforming into a grotesque amalgamation of the tailed bees. Tea and a rabbit. Agreed, said Naruto while he released a tremendous amount of chakra. The chakra formed a giant version of himself with 3 heads, 6 arms and 9 tails. The golden chakra avatar stood as tall as Kaguya. For the next 2 hours, Naruto and Kaguya fought across the galaxies, blasting, punching and throwing planets at each other. Naruto made 4 clones of himself and made them hold on to Kaguya. While he did this, he made 1,000 other clones and made them charge up every type of Rasengan and Elemental ninjutsu that he knew and proceeded to launch them at her. The explosion took out 3 galaxies, leaving the area full of galactic debris. Now Naruto. Is now or never, shouted Kurama. On it, said Naruto. Uzumaki sealing art. Chakra suppressing seal. Uzumaki sealing art. Paralysis seal. Uzumaki sealing art. Demon suppressing seal. As Naruto finished applying the seals, he got in one knee, panting in exhaustion. Damn it. That took forever, Naruto thought. After a few seconds, Naruto stood up and glared at Kaguya. Time to end this, he thought. Before Naruto began to do hand signs, he was interrupted. You saw it, didn't you? Said Kaguya, staring at the horizon. Naruto looked in confusion. Visions, said Kaguya, focusing on Naruto. Naruto frowned. How did you know? I saw it on your face, that scared look you had. It told me all I needed to know. What were those visions? What did I saw? Asked Naruto. Premonition of the future. I also used to get them back when I was younger. They stopped when I absorbed the God Tree. Foresaw the end of the world and I did everything I could to stop it. Naruto, at hearing this, he widens his eyes and then frowned deeply. Are you serious? You caused the end of the world. You didn't stop it, you set it in motion. Naruto shouted in rage and disbelieved. Oh, child, how naive you are, Kaguya said in amusement. You perceived your planet as the whole world. Look around you, boy, what do you see? Naruto took a step back, confused, and did as she said. I see stars and planets. Focus, boy. Extend your senses and tell me, what do you see? When Naruto extended his senses, he felt everything, life all around, but not just life, sentient life all over the world. Now you see. When I said I wanted to stop the end of the world, I was referring to the universe itself. All I wanted was to take back what was mine in order to fight against them. Them. Them who? Said Naruto. My people, the Otsutsukis. Their goal is to eat as many chakra fruits as possible to both extend their life and become stronger. That's all they care about. They harvest chakra fruits from planets with sentient life and destroy them. I was sent to do the same, but I fell in love and had 2 wonderful children. If I had resumed my mission, I would have to kill them, and I refused to do so. Therefore I decided to take the world tree itself into myself to fight back against my people. I understand as to why you did this, but that does not excuse yourself from all of the dead that occurred because of you plans. Said Naruto. What choice did I have? Had I asked my children for help, they would have got themselves killed fighting against our race, therefore making my reason to rebel null, meaningless. As she finishes talking, Kaguya's body began to shimmer in blue light and began to disappear. How long do I have to stop them? Said Naruto. At about 17 to 20 years, I suggest that you train and get better control of your abilities if you intend on facing them. They have already targeted your planet, it is only matter of time. When she was done talking, Kaguya's whole body disappeared completely. Don't worry Super Ultra Granny, those jerks won't know what hit them. Said Naruto with a look of pure determination. Okay, now that Kaguya's taken care of, what are you going to do now, Naruto? Well, for starters, I'm going to have to fix all of this, said Naruto while spreading his arms. What? Shouted Kurama. Are you insane? Hey, there's no need to shout so loudly, you're giving me a headache, said Naruto holding his head. A headache will be the least of your problems, said Kurama growling. What do you mean? Naruto said in confusion. Your body is in enough strain as it is. If you start to repair everything that got destroyed during your fight, you might end up severely weaken at best or end up like Nagato at worst, explained Kurama. So what then? Do I just leave everything as it is? Naruto said. Yes, said Kurama plainly. Naruto deadpanned. What whyui, you know what? Forget you, I do what I want, said Naruto, annoyed at Kurama's attitude. Fine then, don't come crying to me when you either can't move or die, grumbled Kurama. Okay then, let's get this over with, said Naruto, getting serious. Naruto clapped his hands together and began to gather chakra. He then shouted. 6-path sage art. Creation of all things. Atomic reconstruction. As Naruto unleashed his jutsu, the atoms began to rebuild themselves back to what they previously were. The planets, stars and galaxies reformed as if time was being rewound back. As Naruto kept the jutsu going, he began to feel drained. Huff, 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 this is harder than I huff, huff, damn it, the elemental nations is outside of my jutsu range, said Naruto, huffing in exhaustion. Time to go back home. With a flash of red, Naruto was gone. With Team 7, what that hell did Naruto was what was in everyone's mind. Everything is devastated. Even if Naruto wins, we will have a hard time rebuilding. The world may not recover for at least 100 years, but I guess that's better than being outright eaten by the world tree, thought Kakashi. It's been a while since they left the planet D. Do you think Naruto will be fine? Said Sakura in worry for her redheaded teammate. He'll be fine, that idiot is too stubborn to die, Sasuke reassured Sakura. Sasuke lone Sharingan eye pulsed, and before he could say anything, Naruto appeared next to him. Hey guys, said Naruto with a wide grin. Are you guys okay? Team 7 flinched the second they heard Naruto speak. Naruto, is that really you? Said Sakura, bewildered at Naruto's new appearance. Of course is me, who else would I be? Said Naruto, tilting his head. Why do you look like that? What happened to you? Said Kakashi in worry. Oh, this, said Naruto, pointing at himself. This is just the result of my secret sealing technique, although I didn't count on my body changing like this when I was in the process of creating the seals. I only thought that I would just get a boost to my sage abilities, said Naruto. Although it did just that, I just didn't think I would change this much, thought Naruto to himself. So is it permanent or can you change back? Said Kakashi. Probably. I'm not too sure myself. I should be able to switch back just like my regular Sage mode or my Kurama Chakra mode, said Naruto. Naruto looked around and frowned a little. Had I not punched Kaguya outside the planet, we would have killed everyone, Naruto thought as he grimaced. So what happened to Kaguya? Did you beat her? Said Sasuke, interrupting Naruto's thought. Yeah, but barely, that old hag was stupid powerful. Said Naruto. I couldn't save the other Bijus, but so they'll reform sooner or later. Said Naruto, frowning at himself. Good then, but we still have a job to do, said Sasuke while looking at his moon seal on his hand. You're right, said Naruto while looking at his own seal. The both of them put their hands together into the release seal. As they did this, the moon went back to normal. And the millions of people that were trapped in the cocoons were released. Well, that's that, Sasuke said, sighing. No, not yet, said Naruto as he clapped his hand together. What do you mean? Said Sasuke. Six-path sage art. Creation of all things. Planetary restoration. Naruto shouted as a massive amount of chakra left his body. A pulse of chakra traveled across the whole planet, both healing and restoring it alongside the people. In a few moments the area that Team 7 was in went from a hellish wasteland to a bright and lush forest. Amazing, Kakashi, Sakura and Sasuke thought in unison. Not a second later they all hear a blood-curdling scream. They quickly turned around and what they saw was not a pleasant sight. In the floor was Naruto writhing in pain. As his body went back to normal, green and purple electricity violently poured out of Naruto's body. What's going on? What's happening to him? Shouted Sasuke. This might be a side effect of the seals he used on himself, scowled Kakashi with clear fear in his voice. Naruto, screamed Sakura as she ran towards Naruto to try and help him. Don't, said a voice. The rest of Team 7 quickly turned around defensively in front of Naruto. Who are you? Shouted Sasuke, sword at the ready. When Kakashi saw the woman, his eyes almost popped out of their sockets. It can't be, Kakashi muttered in a low voice. The woman vanished out of sight and appeared with Naruto in her lap. Sasuke couldn't believe her speed. He could only see a blur with his Sharingan eye. Such speed, Sasuke, a bewildered Sasuke thought. Get away from. Sakura was cut off as Kakashi put a hand on her shoulder. It's all right, Sakura. Look, Kakashi pointed at Naruto. He is no longer in pain. How are you alive, Lady Kushina? Said Kakashi. Later, Kakashi, said the woman. Do you know her, Kakashi-sensei? Said Sakura, not taking her eyes of the beautiful woman. Yes, this is Lady Kushina. She's Minato-sensei's wife and most importantly Naruto's mother. You can approach now, girl. I have stabilized the raging nature energy within him. It is safe. Said the now identified Kushina while lovingly stroking Naruto's hair. Sakura quickly got on her knees next to Naruto and placed her hand on his torso, applying medical chakra to heal Naruto's wounds. If you were really his mother, where have you been this whole time? Sasuke demanded. First, you do not make demands of me, and second, if you want to keep living, I suggest you change your tone of voice, boy. Said Kushina with venom at the end while releasing a killing intent directly at Sasuke. Sasuke took a step back in shock and a bit of fear. He should be fine for now, but it is good to take him to a hospital in order to have a more thorough physical exam. Said Sakura, wiping some sweat off her forehead. A day after the war, a mass funeral was held in the village to honor the fallen. Thousands of villagers attended the funeral, both shinobi and civilians alike. They all mourned their families and friends. The Hokage said a few words about the will of fire and how the sacrifice of the fallen will be honored and remembered. After her speech, she gave a signal to Kakashi to light up the huge funeral pyre at the center of the Chunin exams arena. It's been a few days since the Fourth Shinobi War ended and the people have started to slowly rebuild not just their homes but themselves. The death toll of the war was inconceivable. Millions of shinobis have given their lives for the sake of the world, village and families, but thanks to their sacrifice they'll keep moving forwards. A day after the war, a mass funeral was held in every village to honor the fallen. Konoha Hospital. 4 days after the defeat of Kaguya. Has Naruto woken up yet? Lady Tsunade asked Hinata. No, not yet, but his condition has greatly improved. I suspect that he'll be up and running by the week, said Tsunade while skimming through Naruto's medical files. That's good to hear, said Hinata with a small smile. How about you give him a visit? Visitations start in 5 minutes, said Tsunade while looking at the wall clock. Thanks, Lady Tsunade, I'll do just that, said Hinata as she bowed. Tsunade watched the young Kunoichi sprint down the hospital halls. Oh, that girl has it bad, chuckled Tsunade to herself. She then frowned and began to reflect of the events of the last 4 days. Flashback. His vitals seem stable for now, outside of his chakra coils being strained he seems fine, he will need a few weeks of rest though. Even with his healing capabilities it is best for him to not do any strenuous physical activities," said Tsunade while looking at the people in the hospital room, specifically at the redhead sitting next to Naruto. The whole room fell silent as they all stared at the woman lovingly stroking Naruto's hair. Kakashi, Sakura and Sasuke seem apprehensive. "Okay, if no one here is going to say anything I might as well just come out and say it." Tsunade took a deep breath and exhaled. "How are you alive?" said Tsunade bluntly. Hey, smirked Kushina as she stared at Tsunade. "Blunt as always, Auntie Tsunade. Well, I wanted to leave the explanations. But I do believe that you of all people besides my baby here deserve an explanation," said Kushina as she stared at her sleeping child. "Well, I am a goddess," said Kushina bluntly. "A goddess, huh? Normally I would either call you a narcissist or have you get checked by Inoichi, but after everything we all seen and been through, I am willing to believe you," said Tsunade. "So, if you were alive this whole time, why weren't you here doing your duty as a mother?" said Tsunade while looking at Kushina with a frigid stare. Kushina flinched and looked down in shame. "I mourned you," said Tsunade as she clenched her fists. "I did die, in a way," explained Tsunade said as she raised one of her eyebrows. "Well, us gods can be in many places at the same time, we do this either through our domains or by splitting our ends. What I did was the latter. This is something akin to the shadow clone jutsu but a bit more permanent," explained Kushina. "If that's the case, why didn't you just make another one and send it to take care of Naruto, or better yet why not be here yourself?" said Tsunade frowning. "To answer your first question, there's two reasons as to why I didn't split my essence again. First, the birthing Naruto while helping Minato keep the Nine Tails at bay to a lot of my power," said Kushina raising her index finger. "And the second reason is that a part of me did die first. God, that's somewhat like a person suddenly losing an organ," Kushina explained as she raised her second finger. "These two factors left me incredibly weakened to the point that I had to begrudgingly ask my brother for help with my divine duties while I rested in a semi-coma-like state," explained Kushina. "I just recently healed completely. As soon as I did, I headed straight here to see my child. When I got here, I didn't expect to see the Fourth Shinobi War raging on." "Wait," interrupted Tsunade, "you were here the whole time?" she shouted in anger. "Not the whole time. Using my domains I theorized that I arrived a few weeks into the war," she said while poking Naruto's cheeks. "When I arrived, you were all fighting the Ten Tails." "What?" the conscious members of Team 7 shouted. "Then why didn't you help us?" they shouted in unison. "We could have really used your help. You know you've been a goddess and all," said Kakashi with a hit of annoyance in his voice. Kushina sighed. "It's because I'm a goddess that I couldn't help. Deities aren't allowed to interfere with too much if at all with mortal affairs." She then raised her hand. "And before you said anything about me going on missions in the past and my involvement in the Third Shinobi War, that part of me was not a goddess, it was me without being me. Also, had I split my essence with the purpose of helping with the war, that would mean that I interfered directly with mortal affairs, especially since I would have to pump as much divine power into it to be of any use against the Ten Tails. At that point I might as well just go down and fight the best myself," explained the goddess. "Okay, that makes sense," said Kakashi while stroking his chin. This is too much. I need a drink or two, or 20," said Tsunade while massaging the side of her head. "Better not, Lady Tsunade, you have a council meeting in about 10 minutes," said Sakura. "No, what'll come next?" A vein pops out of Tsunade's head. "Goddamn it, can't I get a moment's rest in this damn village?" Shouted Tsunade in rage. "What is this meeting about? What do they want now?" Well, it is about the budget and rebuilding efforts of not just the village but all of Fire Country. The council want to know how we are going to go about managing it all," said Sakura sheepishly. Tsunade turns, opens the door and stopped her way out as she grumbled down the hall. End of flashback. "I still need that drink," Tsunade grumbled. After a minute of walking down the hospital hall, Hinata arrived at Naruto's room. When she opened the door, she was greeted by the sight of one of the most beautiful women she has ever met stroking the man she loves' hair. Seeing this made Hinata feel a tinge of jealousy. "Oh, And who might you be, girl? Asked the woman. Hi, I am Hinata Hyuga. A Hyuga, huh? That's unexpected. What is a Hyuga doing here visiting a non-Hyuga in the hospital? Oh I'm here to visit Naruto and check up on him. What's your relationship with him? I'm a friend. I'm sorry, who are you? Asked Hinata, a bit annoyed. I am Kushina Uzumaki. You might know me as the Red Death. Hinata widened her eyes in surprise. The Red Death, one of the most dangerous kunoichi in history. How are you alive? The history books said that you died when the Nine Tails attack, and wait, Uzumaki. What's your relationship with Naruto? Are you related to him? And if so, where were you this whole time? Hinata rapidly asked, running out of breath and her face getting red from the lack of oxygen. Whoa there, girl, calm down or you'll pass out, said Kushina, trying to calm the fluster kunoichi down. Hinata took several breaths, calming herself. Are you okay? Asked Kushina. Yes, sorry about that, it's just that I am so confused, and Kushina interrupted. I understand and I'll answer your questions the best I can, said Kushina. When the Nine Tails attacked, the battle left me extremely hurt to the point that I was left in a comatose state. I recently woke up. And yes, I am related to Naruto, or I should say that he is related to me. Oh okay, that makes sense. I'm glad that you are all right and thank you for your service. She then stopped herself and thought. Wait a minute, could she be Naruto's? Yes, girl, I am his mother, said Kushina, finishing Hinata's train of thought. Hinata was dumbfounded at the revelation. Not only did she meet one of the strongest kunoichi in history, but she also just happens to be her crush's mother. After a few seconds of silence, the two women heard a shuffle and a groan. Ugh, my head, is this what it's like to be hungover? If so, I'm glad I can't get drunk, said Naruto to himself. Where that heck am I? Naruto looked around and saw two people in his hospital room. Oh, hi Hinata, hi mom. Here, you must be thirsty, said Kushina after pouring some water for Naruto. Naruto thanked her and started to drink the water, feeling his parched throat get back to normal. He then thought to himself, this water is really good. Wait, he looked at the person next to him for what it felt like hours with a glaze over his eyes. His brain then rebooted, and he started to choke on the water and began to cough. Kushina then rubbed and patted his back. Mom, Naruto shouted in utter surprise. How? What? Datbeo. He stuttered. It is a long story and tell, but I'll leave you here to talk to your friend. I need to tell Tsunade that you are awake. Wait, I know that I have a lot to explain, and I will, but right now I have to get Auntie Tsunade and let her know that you are awake so she can check if everything is alright. Don't worry, we'll have plenty of time to talk. Kushina then left the room, leaving Naruto completely confused. For the next 2 minutes the room fell completely silent. Hinata, how you been? Said Naruto, trying to put the whole event at the back of his mind. I'm fine, how are you? Well, this isn't awkward at all, said Kurama with one eye opened. Naruto one eyebrow twitch at the fox's comment. Shut it, furball. So how long have I been out for? Asked Naruto, trying to break the tension. You have been out for about 4 days, I believe, answered Hinata. 4 days, huh, so that probably means that I missed the funeral. Yeah, it was held 3 days ago, said Hinata with her head down. I'm sorry, said Naruto with a downcast look. Neji dies because of me, and I couldn't even wake up for his funeral, damn it. He thought to himself. Hinata held Naruto's hand reassuringly. Don't worry about it, it's not your fault. If it wasn't for you there wouldn't even be anyone alive to hold a funeral. You are a hero. After she said that, he gave him a kiss and Naruto kissed back. Thanks, I needed that, he said while hugging his lover. After a few minutes Tsunade entered the room and did a quick checkup on Naruto. Alright, outside from the strained chakra coils you seem to be doing okay, said Tsunade. Okay enough to leave, said Naruto with hopeful anticipation. No, Tsunade deadpanned. Ah dang it, said Naruto with a raining cloud above him. Tsunade rolled her eyes. You can leave after a day or so. Great then. But she interrupted, after I discharge you, you are not allowed to use chakra whatsoever. What? Why? Because your chakra coils are still healing and that needs time to heal, even for us of Uzumaki blood. Mon, how long will it take for them to heal? Naruto whined. I say about 1 month, 2 maximum. That's too long. What the heck am I going to do in the meantime? I'll be bored out of my mind. said Naruto as he raised his arms up. A tick mark formed on Tsunade's head. Quit your whining brat, she shouted with the stunt that you pulled, you are lucky that you still have functioning coils. Okay, I won't use chakra then geez, he said annoyed. Tsunade then sighs and looks at Kushina and then at Naruto. Well then, we'll leave you two alone so that you can catch up, come Hinata, let's leave the two redheads be. Hinata bowed and left with Tsunade. Okay, Mom, you are alive, how? Said Naruto. I'll explain everything but promise me that you won't interrupt and that you'll keep an open mind. Okay, I promise. Good. Kushina took a deep breath and began to explain everything. 1 hour later. Okay, let me see if I understood, said Naruto while massaging the side of his head. So, you are a goddess from a different universe that hate men but somehow fell in love with my dad, who was a male by the way, and had me another male. Yes. PFFRR, ha 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 ha. That's hilarious, ooh man. The sheer irony, this is amazing. Oh Kami, isn't that a kick in the neck? Yeah, laughed it up. So ha ha ha. What, haha, does that make me a half god or something? Naruto said while trying to stop himself from laughing. Well, normally that would make you a demigod or half-blood, how the half-gods like to be called back in my world. Kushina said while holding her chin. But you are the reincarnation of the son of a demigod, which would make you a legacy. I'm not too sure what you are, especially after what you did in your final battle with Kaguya. You are not a god, but you are definitely not a mortal being since you are part Otsutsuki. Okay, that makes sense, or not, said Naruto, tilting his head to the side and closing his eyes. Well, whatever you are doesn't change that fact that you are my baby, she said while rubbing his checks. So does that mean that you'll be staying here? Said Naruto with a bit of hope-high voice. She sighs. Unfortunately, I can't stay in this realm for too long. Not only is this the realm of a different pantheon, but I also have my own divine duties that I can't neglect for too long. Kushina said sadly. The only reason as to why I am able to still be here as my godly self is because I am the goddess of nature, childbirth, the hunt and moon. But more importantly, I'm your mother, and the gods of this world see you as their champion, so I am being allowed to interact with you. Oh, okay, was the only thing that he could say, and he sadly frowned. But that does not mean that you can't visit me in my realm. Naruto perked up at this. Really? I can really go? He asked in gleam. Yes, you just have to ask the leader of this realm for permission, and after everything you've done for this world, I doubt that she'll say no, said Kushina. Is it that right, Lady Amaterasu? Said Kushina while smiling. After she said her name, a column of black and red fire appeared in Naruto's hospital room. When the fire dissipated, a beautiful woman with jet black hair, crimson ruby-like eyes and pale skin appeared. She was wearing a form-fitting red battle kimono, with gold trimmings, with 2 katanas at her side. She also wore metal armor on her arms and legs. This was Lady Amaterasu Omikami, the goddess of creation, the sun and universe. It is good to see you again, Ashura Otsutsuki. Oh, pardon me, Naruto Uzumaki. Amaterasu was standing in the middle of the room in all her glorious splendor. Naruto only stared at the flaming goddess before him. Naruto, this is Lady Amaterasu Omikami, the goddess of creation, the sun and universe. She is also the leader of the Shinto deities. Naruto kept staring at the goddess, when suddenly he narrowed his eyes after he registered what his mother said. Naruto looked down and clenched his fist. His eyes morphed into his Rinnegan for just a second. He took a deep breath and exhaled. He then looked up with a disinterested look in his face. Whoa, that's a pretty fancy body flicker you got there, lady. Do you always come into people's room uninvited, said Naruto with a deadpan expression. Hey, show some respect, you brat. She is not only a goddess but the leader of this realm's pantheon, said Artemis as she smacked Naruto in the back of the head. Oh, I know who she is, I just couldn't care less, said Naruto while angrily looking away from the two goddesses. Amaterasu was taken aback by the blatant disregard and disrespect that the young sage showed towards her. Naruto, what's with you? Asked Artemis with a concerned frown. Naruto sighed and looked down. It's nothing, just me being dumb. What do you mean? Asked Artemis with concern clear in her voice. Is just that. Naruto stopped and looked at Amaterasu in the eyes. She then sighed and looked down, knowing where this was going. I used to pray to you, every day, every night, Naruto said with a frigid tone. But I eventually stop. Naruto sigh sorry. I just feel a little bitter that you chose now of all time to show up. Listen, Ashu Naruto, is not that I didn't answer your prayers, it's just that I was unable to do so due to the divine intervention of many deities. Said Amaterasu. Naruto looked confused at the goddess's words. What do you mean? Why would other god even care about another answering a prayer? Isn't that one of the things gods are known for? Said Naruto while looking between the goddess and his mother. Many gods believe that I have interfered enough with your life. Naruto raised one eyebrow almost as if asking the goddess if she's serious. I am aware of how it sounds. Amaterasu said while quickly raising her hand to calm the young sage. But you have to understand that me being the leader of the Shinto pantheon, my actions carry a lot more weight than most gods of this realm, she said while griping the sheath of her sword. I have made you my champion in your first life, because of all of your noble actions in the past. She smiled as she reminisced. You united thousands of people not through fear or power, but through understanding, compromise, kindness and love. She looked at Naruto in the eyes with pride radiating from her. Naruto was taken aback at the way the goddess looked and spoke about his past accomplishments. Hearing this, Naruto felt unworthy of such pride from the goddess. He did do those things, but at the same time he did not. It was a version of himself long gone. A version of himself that he does not feel any sort of connection towards. You did what many of us have wanted since the creation of the first sentient mortal life. The goddess proceeds to hold and turn Naruto's hand, showing his palm. The seal that your first father gave you wasn't just a sealing jutsu, it also holds a minuscule amount of my divine power. It is so small that it is almost insignificant, but it is there. Throughout my many interactions with you in the past, a bit of my chakra got siphoned into the seal. This marked you as my accidental champion. She said while putting her finger on the center of the sun seal, making it glow a bit. I think I understand. I don't like it, don't get me wrong, but I understand. Said Naruto while looking at his palm. The goddess smiled at hearing his words. But now that you have become an universally renowned hero, the gods want to honor your work. You universal? What do you mean? All I did was save one planet and its people. Said Naruto in confusion and surprise. Both goddesses blinked and looked at each other. You mean you are not aware? Asked Amaterasu. Naruto, what you did after the defeat of Kaguya didn't just affect this galaxy. It affected all the galaxy around this one. Said Artemis. Naruto looked even more confused at his mother's words. What do you mean? All I did was repair all of the damage of my battle with Kaguya. Explained Naruto. Naruto, you really underestimate your own power. The jutsu that you used to repair the damage of the battle didn't just repair the damage to the planets and stars of this galaxy. You did the same for 20 more galaxies. Said Artemis. Naruto widened his eyes. But not just that, you also revived the civilizations that used to inhabit those galaxies. Civilizations that were destroyed thanks to the Otsutsuki's lust for power and immortality. Artemis informed. How Naruto stuttered in shock, not comprehending what was being said to him. To put it simply, what you did was a massively overpowered version of the Rinne rebirth. Explained Amaterasu, which is why you were in a deep sleep for 4 days. The massive strain in both your physical and spiritual self was too much to handle, and so for self-preservation your body went into a recovery sleep. Explained Artemis. To say that Naruto was bewildered would be the understatement of the century. Now Naruto, what this should show you is that you need to train your chakra control even further, to make sure that this event does not happen again. Said Amaterasu. Even though many in the universe, me included, are grateful for all the lives you have brought back. But doing so you have weakened the balance between the realm of the death and the living. As of now, many lords of the death through all the realms are drowning in paperwork, trying to keep everything a secret from their prospective pantheon in order to prevent a massive panic. Amaterasu explained. But enough of the doom and gloom. I did not come here to scold you, I came for the exact opposite. As your mother said earlier, if you wish to pass the veil between realms, all you have to do is ask me for permission. And guess what? Permission granted. The goddess smiled as she touched Naruto's palm. What did you do? Said Naruto looking at his right hand. I have given you an ability that is similar to the Shinkyo. With this you will be able to legally cross between realms at will. Explained the goddess with a happy smile. The Shinkyo, what's that? asked Naruto. It is a divine mirror that connects our world to the spiritual realm, explained Amaterasu. Oh, cool, thanks, said Naruto with a smile. Don't mention it. With that done, I believe that is time that I head back to heaven. There's much work to be done. As she said this, she did a small bow to both Naruto and Artemis, and with a column of black and red flames she was gone. Well, I believe I should get things ready for your arrival at my realm, said Artemis while getting up from her chair. What, so soon? Can't you stay a little longer? Said Naruto, almost pleading. Hearing this, Artemis embraced Naruto in a tight hug. I wish I could, baby, but I can't stay in this realm for too long, plus I also have my divine duties that I must get back to. She then kissed his forehead. Don't worry, sweetie, we will have plenty of time to spend together, said the goddess, and she rubbed his cheeks affectionately. All right, see ya next time, Mom. Until we meet again, my little moonshine. Naruto blushed at the affectionate nickname. Artemis left the hospital room in a blinding flash of silverlight. Thanks.